Hi everyone. Today I'm with Piet Arion, who for the first time ever has agreed to do a recorded interview to talk about his new album, Teenage Storms. So let's get straight into it. Piet, thank you very much for coming along to do this. I know it's not your favourite thing, interviews, but we've talked about it before, and we're going to talk about the album, the tracks, and you can tell your fans a few things about the stories behind the records. So please, if you've got any comments or any questions for Piet, even though this is not a live interview, put them in the comments box and we can use them for next time. So let's start off with the obvious question. Why is it called Teenage Storms?
I was thinking very long about the title for the album, but when I was thinking and writing about the songs, I was still very young and a teenager. And you know, when you go to school and then it's the first time you fall in love, maybe with someone, and you want to party with people, and then you're heartbroken because you fell in love with someone, and so it's like teenage and storms. So that's
Teenage and Storms, right? So the two have been put together. Okay. Let's go through the album and let's take it track by track. The very first track on the album is called
Is This Real?
Is This Real? Now, this is an indie rock song, which you've never done before. So tell us a little bit about why an indie rock song. I know it's a lively song to start an album with, so tell us a little bit about the song itself.
I wanted to have such a song in that style of music. I did that song with Fabio and what was the question?
Why did you do that one first?
Yeah, I think it's an uplifting, happy song.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted it as first song on the album. And I've talked with Fabio with who I started to do music. And he was, he loves music like that. So it was easy to do the song with him in that kind of style. I wanted to do an upbeat tempo song that is happy.
Well, it's certainly that. It's a good track to get you into the album, isn't it? It's a lively track and it gets you involved. You've got a guitar player whose name I really struggle with.
Ishiba-san.
Where's he from?
He's from Sweden. We did not have so much time in the studio, and then I felt like there should be more in the song. And I was, writing with my fans, and Ishiba is one of my first fans, and I told him about the song, and then he said he can play a solo guitar line for the song, and then I recorded a line, and sent it to him, and he was recording the guitar for the song, and it was really cool. So he played the solo part in the song. And later on, I asked him if he wants to be a part of the video. So he filmed himself, and then I could put him into the video. And now he's even part of the video, which is really cool. Yeah.
So it's an indie pop song. Why did you write that?
Sometimes you see someone and you think, wow, this would be, you would fall in love with that person, and that person would be amazing, and you think this person never will be in your life. And in my case, it was a person that somehow really also fall in love with me, where I thought like, is this real? This cannot be happening. And you question yourself, is this real? Because you cannot believe it, that it's happening. And then you're just happy, and something inside of yourself came to life again that you lost in the past, that because when you're in love, a person can bring something in you to life that you maybe forgotten for a long time.
Yeah. A question from a young lady called Olivia, who spotted you were wearing a necklace. And she said, is it a necklace that is a set of wings? Well, I think we know it isn't wings, but you tell us what it is.
It's an Akita.
It's an Akita, as in the one you've got on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the necklace. Yeah.
I think it's your favourite dog, right?
Yeah. Japanese Akita. Actually.
Japanese Akita.
Yeah, one day I would like to have such a dog.
Yeah. The next track, moving on, is Being With You. And I know you've had quite a bit of not hate mail, but comments about the video. Not necessarily about the song, but comments about the video. So tell us the story behind it.
The story behind the video, actually.
Yeah.
I wanted to have 2 actors, and I wanted to film them with a friend for the video, because the song itself, it has this raunchy vibe and this sexual vibe, and I had the idea of the song when I was dating someone and was at my way home, and you know, this feeling when you really get close with someone and you enjoy it and there's love and passion, and I wanted to capture that kind of feeling somehow, even though I didn't think of doing such a song, and then it just happened. And for the video I wanted to have 2 guys kissing, actually, and one of the actors did not show up, so we were waiting and he couldn't come. And then I was asking the other guy suggested, what if I would kiss him and that we would do it, because I really did not think about that, doing it, because I even felt that why would this person like to kiss me, but he suggested it, and then it was really spontaneous, and then he did it with me, and then we were filming and he was kissing me, and after the video it even turned out it was his first kiss, and yeah, but it was really passionate. Really, we filmed like 10 minutes, and that was it. It was like the longest kiss ever. Yeah, but somehow, you know, I was not sure about doing it, because I really got a lot of hate comments because of that, and
Yeah.
and I lost 300 followers on Instagram, because people, they really didn't like it somehow,
Right.
which hurted me, because, you know, I think love is just love. Everybody should be able to love whoever he wants, but you never know. Maybe in a future video I'm going to kiss a girl. I don't know. So
Yeah, exactly.
so it just happened, and I thought, I was really questioning myself if I shall do it or not. But when I made the decision to do it, I was thinking, I know there are so much people who don't find love, who are waiting for love, who are searching for someone, and who don't find love in their whole life, basically, and stay single their whole life. And I know so much friends who don't find someone. I know a lot of older people and friends who have been searching their whole life for a partner and love. And I think love should not be something where people should be judgmental about it. You know, you should be able to love whoever you want, and love is something beautiful. How can people be judgmental with that, you know? And a lot of people are alone and really lonely, especially older people, and I think that's really terrible. So to me, love is something beautiful. I think everyone should be happy about someone else who finds love, and if 2 men kiss, that should not be a problem, and things like that. But yeah.
Tell us about the bass player.
I have a very legendary bass player in the song. His name is Willy Langer, and he is in Austria. He's known as basically the best bass player.
Really?
Yeah, he's really amazing. And it happened through a friend that he got the song and played the bass for the song, and it's really very cool that it happened. Yeah.
You're quite lucky with people that work with you, aren't you? You get a lot of famous people. Not everybody hates it, because you've had lots and lots and lots of lovely comments. Eleanor Schunak, 3826, loves it. Thanks, Eleanor. Norman Fletcher, 8332. That's a good British name, actually. Norman Fletcher. Don't know where that comes from. Gabrielle loves it as well. So again, you know, lots and lots of fans there.
Soll ich so anfangen oder erst nachher das sagen?
Sag du später erst. Stell dich kurz vor.
Was soll ich sagen?
Ich finde das immer gut, dass hi, ich bin Piet Arion. Okay.
Okay, geht.
Mhm.
Hi an euch alle, ich bin Piet Arion. Mein Künstlername jetzt besteht eben aus Piet Arion. Piet kommt von meinem richtigen Namen, ist ein Nickname. Wird auf Englisch eigentlich anders ausgesprochen, aber auf Deutsch ist es einfach Piet ausgesprochen und Arion. Der Name, den finde ich einfach wunderschön. Es gibt eine Geschichte in der Mythologie, in der griechischen Mythologie, von einem Arion, der war Minnesänger und der ist mit einem Schiff herumgereist, also von Insel zu Insel. Es gibt, glaube ich, 2 Versionen. Das habe ich auch von meiner Geschichtelehrerin und die hat das erzählt. Es gibt auch wenige Überlieferungen davon. Jedenfalls, die Geschichte von dieser Mythologie ist die, dass Arion reist auf Schiffen herum, von Insel zu Insel und häuft sich dann so Schätze an. Das ist die eine Geschichte und die Bootsleute waren teilweise sehr neidisch auf ihn und wollten sich der Schätze bemächtigen und ihn über Bord werfen. Und das haben sie dann auch getan, aber Arion hatte dann einen allerletzten Wunsch, bevor sie das tun. Und sein Wunsch war, noch einen einzigen Song zu singen. Und dieser Song soll angeblich die Fische bzw. Delfine so erweicht haben, dass, wo er dann über Bord geworfen wurde, von den Fischen gerettet wurde. Und er kam dann zurück zu der Insel, wo der König war und der hat ihm dann seine Schätze zurückgegeben und die Leute, die ihn über Bord geworfen haben, bestraft. Und einerseits an dieser Mythologie ist auch ein bisschen was von meinem Leben dran, weil die Menschen, ich weiß nicht wieso auch immer, meistens extrem neidisch auf mich waren, weil ich immer irgendwie anders war in der Schule und so. Und da wurde ich auch immer meistens extremst gemobbt. Ich hatte früher auch Brillen und die waren in der Schule meistens immer kaputt, weil ich von irgendjemandem meist immer verdroschen wurde. Und dann habe ich immer so eine kaputte Brille gehabt und habe die dann geklebt. Auch mit Tixo meistens, also ich hatte nie eine Reservebrille und das war wirklich heftig. Die Schulzeit war das Schlimmste in meinem ganzen Leben. Zurück zu der Geschichte von der Mythologie. Die zweite Version von der Mythologie ist die, dass Arion angeblich so weiblich gesungen hat, dass früher war es ja so, dass Frauen an Bord eines Schiffes angeblich Unglück brachten und deshalb dachten sich die Bootsleute, werfen wir ihn über Bord. Und ja, das war die zweite Version. Und es ist dann Folgendes passiert, dass eben Anthony Heilbutt hat über mich in seinem Buch geschrieben, The Fan Who Knew Too Much. Und das fand ich echt mega cool, dass er das gemacht hat. Und dann dachte ich mir, naja, wenn schon jemand über dich in einem Buch schreibt, dann kannst du deinen Künstlernamen nicht mehr ändern. Oder dann solltest du diesen Künstlernamen behalten. Und das war dann so. Und deshalb habe ich eben Piet Arion als Künstlername dann auch behalten. Es gibt 2 Versionen, sein Taschenbuchdings und sein fettes Buch. Soll ich das beide zeigen oder nur eines? Das schaut cool aus ungefähr.
Track 3 is Scheideweg. Tell us about how the song came about.
Scheideweg is a German name and it means crossroads in English, but to me, I named the song Scheideweg because it means much more to me in German, because Scheideweg means that you are at a point in your life where you have to make a decision where to go, and I mean, it's basically crossroads, but crossroads in English is just crossroads, I don't know. There are words that you cannot really translate in English.
No.
For example, we have a second word for listening, which is like lauschen, which is like, because when you say listen, would be hören in German, but when you listen to something that's very quiet in the distance, then you can say in German lauschen.
All right.
In English you could say maybe listen, I don't know.
Listen carefully,
quietly,
suppose,
or
yeah.
But lauschen is something when you barely can hear something and you try to hear it,
Yeah.
then that's lauschen. And there are German words that do not exist in English, which is very interesting.
Yeah. How long did it take you to put that video together?
It was not so easy to do. I wanted to do a time-lapse video for a long time. And then I think I was collecting videos in the time-lapse style and in the night of the city for over, I think, 4 years or for a long time. In the beginning, I didn't know for which song I'm collecting those videos, but then it was sure I want to use it for Scheideweg, and then I was even collecting more what fits together. And
it's not done overnight. And of course, what a lot of people don't realise is that you work on your own. You don't have a team of people around you. You don't have a manager, a producer, a video editor. You don't have a whole host of people, you know, that many stars do. Everything you do basically on your own. And that's why it takes time. So to answer Lillian's question from France, why don't you produce more videos? There is a time implication and obviously a cost implication. Question from Hei Yangju, and I hope I've pronounced that right, Hei Yangju from Tokyo. Did you film this in Japan and did you actually go there to do it?
No, it was cut together. It's a very famous crossing in Tokyo, Shibuya crossing.
Yeah.
But no, I did not travel there. I've never traveled in my life, sadly.
Yeah. You spend every penny on music, don't you? It's true, isn't it?
It's true, yeah.
You spend every single penny on music. Yeah, I know. A Minimoso says, I love that car that you're driving. It looks expensive.
It was, I have no idea what kind of car it is. I don't know.
Your mission is to find out what sort of car that is. And if you haven't seen the video, watch the video, give it a thumbs up, enter the comments, what's the car? That would be cool. And before we move on from that, I think you've got a remix coming.
Yeah, there will be a very cool remix from, I think, two or three remixes from very cool people to that song. Yeah.
Right, let's hope. When do you think those will be out? In the near future?
Hopefully tomorrow, but it will take a time.
Tomorrow, mañana. Okay. Okay.
In welche Richtung geht man jetzt? Man sucht vielleicht noch immer nach diesem einen Menschen, mit dem man glücklich zusammen sein wird und den man dann für den Rest seines Lebens liebt und den aber nicht findet. Und wenn man den Weg nicht weiß, sollte man eigentlich gar keinen Weg gehen, weil dann irgendwie jeder Weg irgendwie falsch ist. Und man sollte sich zuerst bewusst werden, wohin will ich, wohin geht der Weg. Und das ist vielleicht auch mit der Musik so, wo man sich dann so denkt, in welche Richtung wird das dann gehen, wie wird das weitergehen, werde ich Musik machen in Zukunft und so Fragen, die man sich dann einfach stellt. Und dass man immer noch auf dieser Kreuzung steht und man sich denkt, ja, eigentlich es bringt sich nichts, irgendwo hinzugehen, wenn du nicht den Weg kennst, dann bleibst du gleich an der Kreuzung weiter stehen, bis du den richtigen Weg weißt.
The next track is Returning. And again, you've got a featured artist on this, so this is where the flashcards come in handy. On guitar, Albrecht Klinger. I'm going to call him Albi, because I think you call him Albi, am I right? Tell us about Albi.
He played the dobro guitar in the song, and he accidentally was in the studio when I made the song with Fabio, and we asked him to play this part, and then he did, and it's very cool.
Yeah. And the song itself, what's the theme? What's the reason? What's the logic behind that song?
The song is about finding your home, but home sometimes means it's not a place where you live. It's a place where your heart and soul is. And sometimes you haven't found your home yet and you're still looking for your home. It's, I think, often a place where your heart is. Maybe a person where you feel safe and and maybe a person that makes you feel loved again and that gives you just safety and everything that can feel like home, you know.
Yeah. Well, today, now, we're in Vienna. It's where you've been for a long time. Is it home?
I didn't find the place that I would call home yet, or I mean, I hope in the future I have that place that I can call my home.
Yeah, it's not as easy as just living somewhere, is it? No.
Hi an euch alle, ich bin Piet Arion. Ich habe keine Ahnung.
Antworte einfach immer so schnell wie möglich auf alle Fragen, was ich da stelle, okay? Dann wird's nämlich sicher lustig und spontan.
Hi an euch alle, ich bin Piet Arion. Ich bin von Österreich. Viele haben mich gefragt, wer ich komme. Ich bin aus Österreich, lebe jetzt zurzeit in Wien.
And that's what my heaven lights alight in love by your side.
Moving on to track number 5 in My Daydream. It's a love song, a beautiful love song, a ballad, fantastic, comments. But the video got restricted because the AI that scans the video thought there was nudity, and there isn't. What happened there?
There is, I don't know if there's nudity in the video, but there is a half-naked girl and a beautiful guy who are, touching each other and kissing and things like that. So,
But when you say half naked, she's got a swimsuit on, hasn't she?
I think it was underwear.
Was it? Well, it's still not nudity, is it?
In some countries, it is.
Lovely, lovely, lovely comments about it. And you did this with Jim Scott, who is a multi-Grammy award winning artist in his own right. But tell us how that came about.
That song is my orchestra song on the first album, which I did with Jim Scott and David Gett-Oris. It was completely mixed analog from Jim Scott, and Jim Scott was producing certain things to the track, which is amazing. And so I did it with David and Jim, so it was really cool to do.
Yeah, quite a famous guy to work with. But analog, quite an old style these days.
It was very, very cool experience to try it that way.
Yeah.
But you cannot change anything afterwards. If you get the song, it is what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Stick with it and move on. Yeah, absolutely. The lyrics for In My Daydream, how did you generate those? How did you come by that?
In My Daydream, I wrote because I was very in love with someone at that time, and I couldn't be with that person, and it wasn't sure if I would end up with that person, if the person would choose me because there was someone else, and that person that I was in love with chose the other person to be with, and I was not good enough. But in the song, you are thinking about that person, in your daydream, and thinking about being with that person. But actually the song is about that you cherish the beautiful moments that you had with that person, and that will always be the reason why you really lived.
Yeah.
Ja. Man ist einfach unglücklich verliebt und man denkt sich, kommt man vielleicht noch zusammen mit dem Menschen oder nicht? Wird vielleicht in Jahren oder in Zukunft irgendwas sein, dass dieser Mensch dich vielleicht doch nochmal lieben wird? Aber das ist eben oft so, wenn der erste Moment nicht geklappt hat, dann hat man es meistens verbockt. Dann ist einfach der Schalter in die falsche Richtung umgelegt worden und der Mensch hat sich nicht verliebt und es wird einfach nie mehr passieren, egal wie perfekt man noch sein kann. Aber es gab vielleicht echt perfekte Momente mit dem Menschen, wo es vielleicht so gewesen wäre, dass der Mensch sich voll in dich verliebt hätte. Und man denkt an diese Momente, also im Tagtraum. Und auch wenn dieser Tagtraum sich dann verflüchtigt, aber man dann doch weiß, dass für diese paar Momente, wo man diesen Menschen getroffen hat, den man so sehr lieben würde, aber dann vielleicht doch nicht zusammen sein kann, dass diese Momente die Momente sind, um die es im Leben schlussendlich geht und an die man dann vielleicht weiter festhält. Aber ich war schon sehr verliebt und deshalb sind wahrscheinlich einige Sachen entstanden. Es war klar, dass es keine Zukunft gibt und manchmal wünscht man sich noch diese letzte Wertschätzung von einem Menschen um weiter zu existieren als Mensch, um irgendwie einen Teil von seinem Herzen oder von seiner Seele zurückzubekommen, um heil zu bleiben. Und ich habe das damals irgendwie so gesehen oder so beschrieben, dass wenn man selber ein ganzer Kuchen ist und so viel gibt, dass kein Stück für sich selber übrig bleibt, vergisst man irgendwann, wer man selber ist oder was einen selber ausmacht. Und ich weiß nicht, was ich noch gesucht habe von diesen Menschen, weil man muss diesen Menschen loslassen, was ich auch getan habe. Und was bleibt, fragt man sich, weil man so viel gegeben hat und viel Zeit verloren hat. Und manchmal ist der Trost, dass man wirklich alles gegeben hat und versucht hat. Das war für mich, glaube ich, auch der Trost, dass ich zum Schluss mir sagen wollte, dass wenn ich nicht alles versucht habe, ich keinen Frieden finden werde. Und nachdem ich alles versucht hatte, war das dann eigentlich mein Trost und konnte diesen Menschen, den ich so geliebt habe, dann auch gehen lassen.
Track 6, Step Closer.
Fabio said it's more like an R&B track. There was a version with guitar, and then there was a version with orchestra. And I wanted it to be both somehow, but I wanted to keep the original vibe of it with the heartbeat. And that is the only song that I ended up trying to mix myself, because even though I'm not so professional with that, but I tried to mix all the instruments together as I had it in my mind, because I knew they somehow fit together. And what you hear is the result, how I put them together. And because the people or musicians that I showed the song to were a bit confused, because there are so much different instruments in the song. Like I have an organ, I have a flute, I have like an e-guitar, I have, things that don't really fit together as instruments, and but I like them together. So it was a bit experimental, that song.
That's what music is after time, experimental.
Yeah. Step Closer is about maybe having learned when someone is not the right person for you, and then you have to let go of that person and find the one that matches with you.
People that love it, Paulo Garcia, hi, Victoria Hernandez. Again, these are obviously Spanish-speaking people by the sounds of it. And Nimi Hamos Homo. Wow. Okay. Home in the End, next track. It's a sad song, but you featured a cellist whose name I've got here. It's Christoph Underberger. I hope I've pronounced that correctly. And the theme of the song focuses around the cello.
And finally you find the weight I've carried, and finally you spark.
I think it's the saddest song on the album, and I'm happy that I could have Christoph for the cello. The content of the song is that at the end you come to the place that you would call home.
Mm-hmm.
And I think everyone can interpret as he or she wants.
It could be that finally you're able to be together with the person you love. In my case, because I lost someone, it was a thought of seeing that person again in heaven. That is my personal interpretation of it, where things that you couldn't solve with a person, you can finally talk with that person about it, and the person takes away all of your worry, all of your sadness, all of the weight that you carried on your shoulders, and there's hopefully just pure love. And ja.
Im Song Home, das kann man ja verschiedenartig interpretieren, ist eigentlich so von der Geschichte her, dass man am Ende jemand Geliebten wieder trifft oder wiederfindet und all die Liebe erfährt, die man bis dorthin irgendwie vermisst hat von dem Menschen, und dann eigentlich auch wieder glücklich ist und das vielleicht im Tod erst oder in einer anderen Welt, wo es keinen Raum und keine Zeit gibt, dass man da Dinge wieder gut machen kann, die Zeit zurückdrehen kann und an alles nachholen kann, was man eben vermisst hat.
If I had a second favourite track on the album, this is definitely it. It's called The Other Side. It's filmed in Vienna, so tell us a little bit about that song.
When I first came to Vienna, and it was not the easiest time for me, and I was going to this laundrette that I filmed in the video, and I had the idea of this song in this laundrette.
Which is not that far from where we're at now.
That is true.
Yeah.
We filmed it where I had the idea of the song, actually, and I was really thinking, where is my place? Where do I belong? How do I fit in? And it was not an easy time, and I was going there to this laundrette shop, and sometimes you feel like kind of an outsider, and where you live has an effect on your life and everything else.
Yeah.
And,
The Other Side has got a phrase, and it says, "Places lead to circumstances, circumstances lead to places." You could sum everybody's life up like that.
I think a lot of people don't have the freedom to do what they want in their life because of their circumstances, based on where they live and things like that.
For me, it's a sad song, but it's not a sad song in the way you listen to it. It's got a happy track feel to it.
Yeah, you want someone who shows you a different side of life, a more happier side of life, because when I came to Vienna, I felt so lost. It was like,
Maybe I shouldn't say this, but you look lonely in the film.
it's strange. I don't really feel home in Vienna still. Even though for so many years I'm in Vienna, I still don't really feel home here. But it somehow became my home now, because...
You've fallen into it. I thought the laundry shop was in the underground where all the shops were, because you're up and down in West Bahnhof Station. So I thought the laundry shop was in there somewhere, but it's not then.
No, it's by a street.
Ah, right. So it's nearer to where you live. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. The next track is your party song on the album.
Yeah, I wanted to have a party song on the album, and this is my party song, my personal party song, I don't know. I wanted to have something in the song that gives you, or that gives me this feeling of wanting to dance and to just be with your friends, and it. I wanted to do the song also to remind me how the time was with my friends when we were going somewhere for making party, and then I would go with friends with a car, and that is why I somehow had in mind to record car sounds because for me that is a kind of feeling to, go somewhere to make party. And then I had this idea to record a lot of car sounds from different cars, and then I was trying to put those car sounds into the song somehow.
So you actually recorded cars in the street making noises?
Yeah.
That must have got some strange looks.
Yeah, there was a time I was obsessed recording those car noises because, every car has a different sound of whatever. And I think 3 different cars ended up in the song. One is in the beginning, I think it's a BMW. Then one is a Mustang, I think, and one is an Audi or something.
Right. You even know which cars are in?
I mean, the song was basically somehow finished, and I was still, trying to make the song better, because there was a first version or a first demo version on YouTube that my original fans know that it was there and it existed. I mean, a lot of people complain about it, that it's not there anymore, but I never really liked the first version because it didn't have this drive that I wanted it to have. And so I was trying to make it much better with a better beat and all that kind of stuff to make it much more cooler. And the last thing that I did was bringing those car sounds to my mixing engineer, and he was completely confused why that should be in the song. And then he was trying to put the car sounds to the song, and he never did something like that. I drove him crazy to try to put it into the song. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
But it actually worked quite well in the end, didn't it?
Yeah, I like it very much.
Yeah, it's a good track. It's a good track. Okay.
Ich find's cool. Warte, so normal, ich schwenk dann von oben so runter noch. Was echt mega cool ist, ist, dass das Album mit realen Instrumenten eingespielt worden ist. Das ist ja heutzutage sehr selten, also macht es vielleicht dadurch sehr besonders. Hi everyone, I'm Piet Arion from yeah, God.
That's okay. Give it to me, baby. Piet Arion.
I told you a long time ago that I'm working on my album. Finally, it's finished. It's I worked this bit.
Good.
And I will talk about all my songs and was soll ich noch sagen?
Hi, I'm Piet Arion from Austria. As I told you, I'm working on my album, and after a long, long time, it's finally there. It's finished.
I'm gonna take this.
we've got another one to talk about, and I'm not going to say much about this because I know it's a hugely personal song to you, and it's called AF.
So in my next life, I'll be allowed to be with you and to love you and to never let you go.
And if anybody wanted to ask a question in the comments as to who AF was or is, they never did. I didn't see one comment that said, who is this AF? What's AF? What's it all about? They give you a bit of privacy, they give you a bit of understanding, and they give you a bit of feeling, I think. So I think your fans are with you on this one. You haven't seen it, check out AF. Fantastic ballad. Give them a thumbs up. Let's get the algorithm higher. But I'm going to leave you to talk about AF.
For AF, I have written for someone that I was in love with, and that is why I called it For AF. And it was a person that I was seeing over, I think, 3 years or a long time. That person was in that time in relationships and had breakups and things like that. And I was always hoping, that I would end up being with that person and having a relationship with that person. But that person never decided to be with me. And his name is Andy. He then found someone that he really fell in love with and had a relationship with. And of course, before that, I tried to tell him that I would be, in love. Yeah. And it was just obvious that we couldn't see each other anymore, that it was over because he didn't want to hurt me. And it was the last time that we saw each other. And I always told him that I'm making music, but he never heard anything of my songs or my music. And I went to his place. I had this song on a USB stick. I wanted to give it to him as a present and just give it to him and leave. But he insisted that we listen to it together. And then we listened to it together and he really started to cry a lot. And and then we said goodbye. And that's basically the story of it. I somehow was heartbroken, but not so much as I was in the past. But what really somehow broke my heart was I always wanted to have an Akita, and he gave his new boyfriend an Akita that I wanted to have. And then they were posting like family pictures on Instagram with the dog, and somehow that really broke my heart.
That feels a bit mean.
This somehow broke my heart, but then I was moving on. Yeah.
As you do.
Sometimes it is like that. Someone falls in love with you, or just not.
Yeah.
And
it either happens or it doesn't. People sometimes just don't gel. It's life, isn't it? And you write very well about life in all of your songs, it has to be said. I know English isn't your first language, but I think you've done really, really well. Thank you. Thank you for answering.
But we have one more song, I think.
Have we? What do we?
I think it's Painting Stars.
Right, we've gone left. One left. Painting Stars. And there's a remix of that as well. But tell us about Painting Stars. Where does that name come from? You conjure up names.
I have no idea how that title came up. That song really took a long time to finish because there were so much versions of that song that I did, and then I was still changing the lyrics and things like that. And it is somehow about loss, but that you can still cherish the moments that you had with that person, and hopefully the spirit of that person still continues living on. Is that correct English?
Yeah.
And that person who is not with you maybe wants that you're happy, and so you should try to be happy and maybe party, dance, cherish your life. And I thought that in the song, maybe the fireflies symbolize the spirits of people who are still with you. But I was calling it painting stars because we are all built of stardust, and
So it's sort of time and space, and we're all living in the same universe. Well, Pete, you've got through it. You probably didn't think you'd ever get to the end of this interview, but you've made it. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for your honesty. Thank you for talking about your songs, your life, and a little bit about your existence in Vienna. I'm sure there's a lot more to talk about, but for the moment, that's it. It's the first album. It's called Teenage Storms. It's on every streaming system. And before I sign off, is there anything you'd like to say to your fans?
yeah, that if you made it this far, then thank you so much for listening to all of this. And I think there's much more to say to each song. But I hope you liked this interview doing me with Ray. I think it was really amazing. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
To do this with me. And it was my first interview. I was actually really nervous about doing it. And I hope that people still enjoyed it, and maybe next time people get to know more about my songs. And if you like my music and want to continue to support me, then please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed yet, then please subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much.
Until the next time, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.